what you... We should go home. Oh, let's see what... Sorry, guys.
Let's see what's going on, guys. Trudeau's talking right now?
Yeah, he's talking.
Let me see Trudeau.
Look at them with their hands. Yeah. This is not...
He said it's not a peaceful protest. It's hurting workers, it's not peaceful, there's nothing good about it, guys. That's what he's saying.
Blockades and occupations as seen in Ottawa, the Ambassador Bridge, and elsewhere. These tools include strengthening their ability to impose fines or
So more fines or imprisonment.
The government will designate, secure, and protect places and infrastructure that are critical to our economy and people's jobs, including border crossings and airports. We cannot and will not allow illegal and dangerous activities to continue.
What dangerous activities, man?
I don't see any dangerous activities.
Also allow the government to make sure essential services are rendered. For example, in order to tow vehicles blocking roads. In addition, financial institutions will be authorized or directed to render essential services to help address the situation, including by regulating and prohibiting the use of property to fund or support illegal blockades. And finally, it will enable the RCMP to enforce municipal bylaws and provincial offenses where required. This is what the Emergencies Act does. Let me be equally clear about what it does not do.
He's doing the same thing as always.
Using the Emergencies Act to call in the military.
He's not going to...
No military.
Fundamental rights or overriding the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Do what?
We are not limiting people's freedom of speech. We are not limiting freedom of peaceful assembly. We are not preventing people from exercising their right to protest legally. We are reinforcing the principles, values, and institutions that keep all Canadians free.
Everybody's free, buddy. Everybody's free.
Discussion avec le Conseil des ministres.
Yeah, that's it.
For cabinet development. After consulting the premiers of all provinces and territories, and after speaking with the leaders of the opposition parties, the federal government has invoked the Emergency
He's just
Measures
repeating
Act.
it. He's not, it's the same stuff as always.
Yeah.
Fines, imprisonment, and no military. So he did a huge thing to say the same thing again. He wasted everyone's time.
I want to be very clear.
Just wasted 5 minutes, guys.
In 2 miles, take the US 151 South exit.
They will be reasonable. They will be proportional to the threats to Canadian security. The Emergency Measures Act will strengthen and support the work by the police. We are not using the Emergency Measures Act in order to deploy the military. We will not be suspending fundamental rights.
Hey guys, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about what just happened?
We are not limiting the right to peacefully protest.
Nothing.
What we want to do
Someone said Trudeau's Hitler.
Invoking the Emergencies Act is never the first thing the government should do. The second
Yeah, guys, everyone should be in Ottawa right now.
sparingly, and as a last resort. Right now, the situation requires additional tools not held by any other provincial or territorial. Today, in these circumstances, it is now clear
Yeah, guys, that is crazy.
responsible leadership requires us
He did all that to say nothing. He could have sat at home and done what he does every day.
will be compliant
In half a mile, take the US 151 South exit.
created relating to flow from and uphold the charter. It will always defend the rights of Canadians to peaceful assembly and freedom of expression.
What blockades, man? I don't get it. They're talking about the blockade.
Take the US 151 South exit.
You look like Jesus right now with the sun.
Hmm?
Look at the camera. You see the sun, it comes down and...
In half a mile, continue on to US 151 South.
Of course, while we get the situation under control, we'll continue to have Canadians but we remind affected businesses living here facing revenue losses. Support is available through the wage and rent subsidy program.
Man, he's no shame of him on the world people, man. This guy, he's no shame.
He doesn't care about anything.
Specific support for those businesses.
Continue on US 151 South for 57 miles.
Good.
Yeah, well, I was talking to some girl earlier. She was like 12 and she said she's homeschooled.
Constraints and critical infrastructure and depriving your neighbors of their freedoms.
Who has problem with the neighborhood, man? The trucker is not gonna get out and say, "Oh, you cannot walk or you can do this."
13, iPhone 13.
Oh, what?
iPhone 13.
iPhone 13.
See, they're known to have battery issues sometimes because all iPhones have issues with the battery. When it gets too cold, they'll just shut up.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know any, unless, no. I don't have anything like that, and I've never actually seen anything like that to tell you. Tell you the truth. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah. But if you guys need anything as far as accessories, power banks, anything, I have everything.
Okay, thank you very much.
No
you need
problem.
anything?
I don't want it for free, man. I'll buy it. You know, I feel bad.
But it's not that. It's because, no, like, just tell me what you need.
So obviously there's a heck of a lot more traffic during the weekends, but the stage is going.
If you feel obligated to comply with whatever arbitrary garbage they decide to call law and think that you need their legislative permission to be free, you've already lost. Political decrees don't determine right and wrong. And disobeying
Who are you?
I'm somebody who's really interested in how you could be so damn good looking.
Why are you dressed like a transient?
At least I'm not dressed like a girl today.
Why aren't you carrying a gas can?
Because I forgot it over there. But did you still want to do that thing? Is
Yeah,
it
how many gas cans you got?
I got a phone my friend.
Okay, I'll let them deal with the thing. I'll show you guys what's going on over here.
Controls. Force is justified only when used to. She's here with a message, and her message may have something to do with her chief, possibly her 2022 2022.
Okay, hello. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. Thank you for the organizers of this speech. to the troopers who, with their sacrifice and long suffering, have allowed voices like mine to be heard. And thank you all of the testimonies, the stories, the unity have all been simply amazing. My name is Shelly, like she introduced, and I have been an Ottawa resident for 5 years. I would like to encourage you all today in our pursuit for freedom and recognition under God. I come from Toronto, Ontario, with both my parents coming from Jamaica. We Caribbeans are a God-fearing people, and if not all God-fearing, then many are very spiritually in tune with the needs of our bodies and the healthier traditionalist path to healing. As I have grown into a young adult facing the many trials of employment, housing, school costs, debt, as well as the intense drug and alcohol abuse deeply entrenched in my generation and social circle, I have personally felt to cling to the word of God even more during all the very real tribulations we face, including but not limited to COVID. So when our representatives use science and health policies to mandate treatments to try and dictate my life, my spirit, like so many of you, here felt from the very beginning. Everyone I spoke to has had the same message. It just did not sit well with them, and something has not sat well with them for a long time. I don't think it should be a focus for the issue of COVID-19. And I found few who were willing to hear my point, let alone respect it. And a government who stops up our beliefs and our thoughts and our opinions of the world as nothing more than a fraud.
All right. We're going to get you as far down as the next blockade. That'll take us right from the steps of Parliament to the next blockade. And then you guys will have a good feel of what's going on down here today.
I'll meet up with you actually. The bus meet.
Okay, I'll see you back at the bus. Okay, cool. Hey, we're on our own. It's me and you, man. Let's go. All right.
I brought that with me over there. No, they were. Have another one over there. Yeah, you must.
As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order.
And I also spoke to the Charles Michel, as well as Chancellor Scholz of Germany and President Duda of Poland.
Active G7 response to support Ukraine's economic resilience today.
Economy.
Merci, Monsieur le.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Hello, everyone. Across the world, liberal democracies are being confronted with serious and repeated threats.
Bullshit.
We thought, and we perhaps even hoped, that Canada would be spared. For the last 2.5 weeks, we have realized that this is not the case. This siege and these blockades are causing major damage.
You guys shut down our account. You shut down our jobs. You shut us down for 2 years.
And are harming our democratic institutions as well as Canada's reputation in the world. International confidence towards Canada as a good place to invest and do business has been shaken.
You've shut us down for 2
are
years.
doing great damage to Canada's economy and to our reputation as a reliable trading partner. The blockade of the Ambassador Bridge has affected about $390 million in trade each day. This bridge supports 30% of all trade by road between Canada and the United States, our most important trading partner. In Coutts, Alberta, about $48 million in daily trade has been affected by the blockades.
It wouldn't have happened if you didn't take away our rights.
In Emerson, Manitoba, about $73 million in daily trade has been affected by the blockades.
No, it's
These
your fault.
costs are real. They threaten businesses, big and small.
What about the small businesses you
threaten
killed?
the livelihoods of Canadian workers, just as we are all working so hard to recover from the economic damage caused by COVID.
You caused it.
Nous nous sommes battus bec et ongle.
We fought so hard to protect Canada's privileged relationship with the United States when we were negotiating NAFTA. We stood up to Tariff 232, which were illegals and unjustified. We will never let those hard-won victories be tarnished. The world is watching us. Our jobs, our prosperity, and our livelihoods are in danger. That is why our government is acting. We are resolute and determined. These illegal blockades must be lifted, and they will be.
Invoking the Emergencies Act, we are announcing the following immediate actions. First, we are broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets, such as cryptocurrencies. The illegal blockade highlighted the fact that our banks and financial institutions are already obligated to report to the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, or FINTRAC. As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers authorities to FINTRAC on a permanent basis. Second, the government is issuing an order with immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institution suspects that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. This order covers both personal and corporate accounts. Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. In doing so, they will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith. Federal government institutions will have a new broad authority to share relevant information with banks and other financial service providers to ensure that we can all work together to put a stop to the funding of these illegal blockades. This is about following the money. This is about stopping the financing of these illegal blockades. We are today serving notice. If your truck is being used in these illegal blockades, your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended. Send your semi-trailers home. The Canadian economy needs them to be doing legitimate work, not to be illegally making us all poorer. Il s'agit de suivre la...
It's all about following the money. It's about putting an end to the funding of these illegal blockades.
People are disgusting.
Consider yourselves warned. If your truck is used in these blockades, your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended. Send your rigs home. The Canadian economy needs them to do legitimate work and not make us all poorer illegally.
This is unconscionable. The accusations that she's making, accusing the blockades of making everyone poor.
I have discussed this with the heads of Canadian banks.
And now she's issuing threats against the convoy and the blockades.
To ensure laws.
This is an act of war.
And
Make no mistake about it.
Canadian democracy is being protected as well as our economy.
The past 2 years, we have trusted one another.
It is different from the previous act in two important ways. First of all, the Emergencies Act has several ways of safeguarding measures, including parliamentary review. Secondly, measures taken under this act must comply and observe the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Specific, serious circumstances that amount to a national emergency. For a situation to be qualified as a national emergency, 3 conditions must be met. First, we must be in a situation that either seriously endangers lives, health, or safety of Canadians and exceeds the capacity or authority of a province to deal with it, or
here they go with their nonsense, basically mansplaining to us, the most informed citizens, as to why this is a state of emergency.
Second, the provinces and territories' capacity to handle the situation must be considered insufficient or must show gaps. And third, we must conclude that the situation cannot be handled adequately under any other Canadian law, including provincial laws and territorial laws. Une fois l'urgence déclarée,
once the emergency has been declared, the Emergencies Act allows the federal government to adopt rules or decrees in order to intervene. Our government respects Canadians' rights and freedoms as protected under the Charter. It is our intention to use only the necessary, reasonable and measured powers in order to resolve this crisis quickly and safely.
The Act also contains a number of significant limits, checks, and safeguards. As required by the Act earlier today, and on occasion over the past week, the Prime Minister and members of Cabinet have consulted with premiers and members of their respective governments. Having now declared a public order emergency, we will table the declaration in Parliament as required within 7 days. Parliamentary committee will be struck to provide oversight while the emergency is in effect. The declaration only lasts for 30 days unless renewed. However, we can, and sincerely, les décrets et règlements qui permettront de
these measures that will allow us to move forward under the Act will soon be developed and tabled before Parliament in the 2 days following their implementation, as required by law. Parliament has the power to revoke the emergency, which means that all measures taken will be reasonable and appropriate.
One point clearly. These measures are temporary. We intend to
say that we moved too quickly. Other people will say, no, we should have acted weeks ago. The reality is this. The Emergencies Act is not something to take lightly. It's not the first thing you turn to, nor the second, nor the third. We were there to provide additional resources from the very beginning to Ottawa's local police service and elsewhere. We were there to support them in the work that they were doing. And in the last few days, during meetings I had with ministers, with our partners, with officials, it became clear that we required additional tools. And those tools, limited, responsible, and reasonable are what we will be using through the Emergencies Act. Next question.
That the RCMP now have the ability to enforce provincial and municipal laws. Does that mean that they'll be the lead police force agency here in Ottawa? And when can we expect more police officers from the RCMP to work with the City of Ottawa? Because they've been asking for that for a substantial period of time.
As I said, the invocation of the Emergencies Act gives more powers to the police of jurisdiction. It does not make the RCMP automatically police of jurisdiction anywhere across the country. As we have been, we will ensure that the RCMP continues to work to support local police of jurisdiction, and that's what we have been doing in Ottawa. But I think on this question, I'm happy to turn to Minister Mendicino, who can give further information on the situation in Ottawa. Marco?
Yeah. Thanks very much, Prime Minister. From the very beginning of the illegal blockades, the federal government has been working closely with local law enforcement where they are the police of jurisdiction, including here in Ottawa. I would point out that we've sent 3 installments of reinforcements to ensure that Ottawa Police Service has the support that they need. But I think, as we've seen, without question, there have been many, many challenges on the ground to restoring public order on the streets, and one only has to look at the situation on Wellington Street over the past number of weekends. I think it's difficult to overstate the impact of those scenes, the conduct that has unfolded by those who are participating in illegal blockades. It is not just an inconvenience. It is not simply a matter of a trivial interruption. We've seen intimidation, harassment, and expressions of hate. And at times, the scenes on the streets of Wellington have seemed completely lawless. And that is one of the reasons why we've had to take the very careful and deliberate step of introducing the Emergencies Act today, and the declaration and the specific powers, which again are very targeted, they're very proportionate, and they're time limited, so that there can be greater agility between the RCMP, who will work seamlessly with local law enforcement, including in Ottawa, to restore order. I would also say that while we have seen so necessary, we want to be certain that, in addition to that, the kind of jersey barriers which will assist with crowd control, that will ensure that trade and traffic can move very efficiently. And in addition to that, when it comes to the relationship between the RCMP and local law enforcement and provincial enforcement, the provision that is within the declaration will allow the RCMP to be more efficiently assigned to those areas to uphold the law, be they municipal laws, provincial laws, or indeed the designated zones which will be prohibited from assembly because they may cause a breach.
Police services here in Ottawa and right across Canada have the authorities they need and the resources they need to do the important job. Now, as I said yesterday, policing is a very important institution in our society. We need the police to do their job of upholding our laws, to maintain the rule of law, and to maintain public order and safety in our communities. And we have a responsibility to make sure that they have the resources and the tools that they need to do that job. They have our support. And as that support grows in the City of Ottawa, I have confidence that they'll be able to restore order with the support that we're providing.
Next question. Hi, Prime Minister. Stephanie Taylor with the Canadian Press. You emphasized we're not calling in the military to deal with the situation, but all options, as you said last week, are on the table. So what would it take for you to bring the military into this situation? What would the criteria be, and what would it take for you to make that decision?
I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals right now. I think what is most important is
they would
that
love to do
Canadians get their lives back, their communities back.
That's the only reason why this thing is there.
And can once again rely on their jobs and the trade and the supply chains that are supporting them and putting food on their tables. The reality is the measures that we put forward today, which have been carefully thought through, will give the tools to law enforcement to be able to move in even stronger and clearer ways against these illegal protests, these illegal occupations and blockades that are hurting Canadians. We will continue to monitor, and we will continue to do the things necessary to keep Canadians safe. But like I said, this Emergencies Act in no way brings in the military as a solution against Canadians. We are empowering law enforcement. I think that's what Canadians want to see.
Over the weekend, Minister Blair expressed that he was a little baffled by the lack of law enforcement he saw. I want to know what you think. Do you agree with him that it is a little baffling the Ottawa police are not enforcing more of the laws? What do you make of the policing you have seen to date on Wellington Street and elsewhere in Ottawa?
I think there is a high level of frustration amongst residents of Ottawa that this situation has gone on as long as it has. Certainly the frustration people feel in Ottawa has been echoed across the country and indeed around the world. And it is important that the police of jurisdiction working with the OPP and the RCMP are able to put an end to these illegal protests. The specific and limited measures that we are putting forward today as part of the Emergencies Act will give them further tools that in their coordinated response between the Ottawa Police Services, the OPP and the RCMP.
National Post. Over the weekend, Mayor Jim Watson here in Ottawa made a deal with protest organizers to move more trucks onto Wellington Street and out of residential areas. I'm wondering if you can give me any reaction to that deal.
I know that the City of Ottawa, its police services and its elected officials have been pursuing an end to these blockades. This has gone on far too long. It is no longer a lawful protest at a disagreement over government policy. It is now an illegal occupation. It is time for people to go home. The measures that we've put forward today will be additional tools for law enforcement at all levels to be able to secure an end to these blockades.
You're announcing today rules around preventing banks from dealing with these illegal blockades. The City of Ottawa has dealt with these legal blockades. Don't you find that problematic that they have cut a deal to put more trucks directly in front of Parliament Hill?
Deb.
We are working in a concerted way on measures that will hopefully restore order to the City of Ottawa and allow residents to get back to their lives. The measures that we put forward today around empowering banks to follow up and to ensure that funds are not used for illegal activities such as blockades will be significantly helpful in reducing the size and impact of these blockades.
Merci. On va maintenant tourner au téléphone.
Thank you. We will now move to the telephone. Operator, go ahead.
Please press star 1 at this time if you have a question. S'il vous plaît, appuyez sur étoile 1 maintenant pour poser une question. The first question will be from la première question.
You're way younger than you, but I've never seen anything like this either.
I'm going to tell you, you're seeing history in the making.
Yeah.
Because these guys, all these supporters, all these volunteers, they have come together like it's been on. Stay home. The tyranny in this country is nothing less than sickening, you know. And yeah, that puppet over there, he has to go. End of story. Call me hardcore, call me an extremist, call me a tin hat wearer, I really don't give a fuck. Because I'm standing up for what's right.